Hi everyone, welcome to Thuy and Edith Argue. A little bit of tea. She's Thuy.
She's E.
And we're about to argue.
Nice, as always, as usual.
Well, it's just a little debate. Let's say we're having a debate.
You know what? Before we argue, I have to rub this in your face. I'm wearing yet again
Another Spartan shirt.
another Spartan shirt.
I have yet to do it.
It looks similar to what I've worn previously, but this one has blue, which means it was a Spartan Super.
Oh, it says it on there. Super in
In case
blue.
you couldn't read.
I can read.
Okay.
I've been able to read for 7 weeks now.
Great.
So, and you're about to do another one, aren't you?
Yes, I will be doing a beast in November.
What colour will that shirt be?
Green.
Beastly green.
Yes.
Go Eagles.
Every different race that you do, you get a shirt at the end of the race. And then on top of that, like if you do a trifecta, which means 3 of those within 1 calendar year, you get another shirt. So
That says Spartan trifecta.
so I just keep collecting these, and I'm just going to keep wearing a different one every time to rub it in Edith's face.
I will do one with you, I think, soon, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I
For
mean,
your
I
birthday.
do like obstacle courses. That is so much fun to do obstacle courses.
You just like being outside.
But I'm not a big runner. That's my downfall. I mean, I can do all the obstacles. Well, I say I can, I can't, but I would try. It's just the running. Like, what are you doing next? A 21K?
Yes, but you don't have to run per se. It's called a race, but you're just racing yourself. I'm not literally sprinting from one obstacle to the next. I'm jogging, and sometimes if I'm really tired because of you have to keep up your stamina, you have to keep up the endurance. You don't want to just kill yourself. You can just walk once in a while. Especially the terrain. The terrain is sometimes really rugged. I'm not sprinting on mountainous terrain, which this will be because I've done the one in South Carolina before.
It's a lot of mountains in South Carolina, huh?
Yeah, it's rocky, so I'm not gonna be sprinting. I jog sometimes if it's a clearing, but you have it all. I take 5 or 6 hours to do the 13 miles because you're also sometimes it bottlenecks when you reach an obstacle.
Yeah, I remember that when we did the Savage race.
Yeah.
We were waiting to get on obstacles.
Yeah, so it's not like seriously a rush. You're not trying to dash as fast as you can.
When is it? When is the next
November
one?
for the umpteenth time.
Oh yeah, I have a friend coming to visit in November.
I know.
I don't think she'd want to do that.
Whatever.
She likes to sit on beaches and sunbathe.
Well, you can also sit on the beach when you're done celebrating your victory of completing the beast.
We're going to New Orleans.
Nolans. Edith, what do you think about homework?
I think homework sucks. I think it's rubbish. What do you think about homework? Would you do you like homework, right? Of course you do.
I'm a nerd.
Thuy loves the homework. I don't think homework should exist. It should be abolished.
I think there's a place for it. I think there's
in school
a reason.
It should be schoolwork, not homework.
That's why it's not called schoolwork. It's called homework.
But why? I mean, what makes you say that that person is doing that work themselves? Because some parents, they're just like, oh, I've got that for you. Don't worry. Well, you just copy what I write.
Of course, there's always that. There's always going to be that. The honor system, whether or not the students actually do it themselves. But if they're not, that's why they have things called tests so that they can see if they actually learned that information. That's why they test the students in the school to see if they retained it.
So we were just talking about higher education, and I mean, why are we paying teachers to teach if they're sending the kids home to do the work?
You can only do so much in the not even 8 hours a day that they're with their
then
student.
You do that much in that day, and then you go back to school the next day. When you go home, you do other things like clean your room.
There's
Go
just
out
so
and
many
play.
things to have to learn and to have to teach, and other variables in play. Like if the students all just sat there listening and actually absorbing it, that would be one thing. And all the teachers had to do was just dish out information and just blah, like pour it out. That would be one thing. But sometimes they're refereeing, they're babysitting, sometimes they're counselors. There's so much crap going on. Teachers are so underpaid, first of all. And then now we expect them to, they do more than teach. If the kids all just sat there and listened and actually paid attention, and the teacher's job was simply just to tell all the information that they know about A, B, and C, that would be different. But there's so many other things involved. They can't even go through what they had planned in their lesson plan for the day because all these variables, all these nutso things that come up. I get what you mean about the student actually doing the work at home. Could be their friends helping them. But again, that's how they would know. If they're answering all these questions, even if it's something that they can use their books for,
right,
at home to answer these questions.
The books, the phones, the
right,
computers.
But that's why we have what's called assessments or tests. People don't like that word. People don't like taking tests. I get it. Not everyone is a good test taker, but there's got to be some way to assess, to rank that you've learned the information that I've given you.
Okay.
Whether it be you have to spit it back out to me or you write it down.
Okay.
So, yeah, people can always like cheat, but there is value in homework. Just like how there's a previous episode that you and I did with the whole college thing. And I find that there's value in that. Yes, I'm a little bit biased. I'm a nerd, but it doesn't mean I like all homework. But I like doing it. I like learning stuff.
I like learning stuff, but I also like playing.
Sure. I'm not saying it should take over your whole home life. And when you get home from school at 3,
it just adds to worry and stress for a kid to go home and have to do this stuff on their own without the help of the teacher. Maybe the parents are not good parents and they're not around to help them with their homework. It just adds more stress and worry for the kid.
That point that you just brought up is actually one of the reasons why I feel homework is good. Because, well, first,
you like to stress children out. You like kids to be stressed and worrisome.
Yeah. No, I don't want to like cause anxiety in them. But okay, first off, it's almost like you're going the extreme here, because I'm not for having homework 24/7. Like as soon as you get home, you're just doing it until you go to bed. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying that homework is good. A definitive amount, not astronomical. You know, there's a place for it and there's value in it. But one of the things that you just said about if you're not a good parent, there we go. Homework can be a good tool in the sense of that it makes the parent have to be involved. If it's a project, or even if it's something like, what is little Johnny reading in English right now? Or what's he learning in math? You're knowing what they're going through. Oh, okay, he's doing division. Or, oh, he's learning, I don't know, Shakespeare. Even if you're listening to him read that section, that chapter, homework in a sense, almost like it makes the parent have to be active.
It should
make
the parent.
But if they're going to be a crappy parent, they're a crappy parent no matter what, whether it's homework or not. If you're saying that. We're saying if like all the ideals are in place, homework is a good tool. How many parents help their kids with like a science project with like the solar system, or like a mountain that's erupting? You know, you add baking soda and all that stuff. Sometimes the parents are relearning something and it's something that they forgot.
Yes.
Yeah. That they maybe didn't even learn it the first time around.
Right. They never did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it's cool. Now, there's the parents who are almost like too good, where they're buying these systems of solar systems that are glowing in the dark, and it's taken up, 12 by 4 feet of the display.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
Right.
That's overboard. But I'm talking like being able to spend time because you're working on a project with your kid, or you're talking the kid through because you're saying, okay, for this book report, Tommy, well, what was the whole point? What was the moral of the story? Why did the rabbit blah blah blah? That actually is an actual good tool, because homework almost forces the parent that maybe would have never otherwise had that time with them.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my argument for it.
Oh, well, my argument for it would be, you do enough of it in school, don't take it home. Don't take it home. Do it in school. Do it in school. Sit in a room, do it in school.
It helps to reinforce what you supposedly learned in school. You see it
Does
again
it, or are you doing
outside of that
something
setting.
different at home? I mean, you don't. The homework you get is not what you've done in class. It's something different. It might add on to what you did in
Sure.
class, but why can't you just go back to that class the next time and do what you're supposed to do at home when you've got the help of the teacher? Because that's what teachers are for.
It's true, but that actually also reinforces another reason why I think homework is great. Even though the teachers are there to help you, homework helps to build independent learning skills. So I'm not talking about kids who don't understand, what's 1 + 1, and then they're just stuck, and then how do I figure this out? But maybe they did learn from their teacher, wait a minute, I know this is 1 and this is also 1, and then, oh, that's 2. That's really rudimentary. But basically, I do feel that when there's no one around, whether it's a parent or a teacher, homework helps to foster that independent problem solving. I'm using math as the example, but it might even be for reading, for language arts. It could be that, okay, in this paragraph, I see that the main character, he's going through a dilemma, and if they don't understand it, that's what they have the teacher for the next day, or the parent. They can ask the parent that, for example. But homework helps for them to have critical thinking, to think.
Of every lesson, every class should give you homework.
No, but that's why if it was every class, then I could see them being bombarded and doing homework from 3 until dinner time, and then washing up and then going to bed. That's obviously the extreme. No, I don't think that is beneficial, because that would stress a kid out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my point.
But
it's stressful.
But that's just like with anything. That's with like food. That's with like any.
You don't get stressed when it comes to food. Only which to eat first.
What I mean is, it's just about restrictions and being disciplined about how much, right? So I don't know what the perfect amount of homework a night is. I guess it depends on their level of education and the material.
Maybe 2 hours of homework? Is that too much? Is that enough?
Again, it just depends on the grade level, I guess. Like if they're in high school versus they're in elementary. In elementary, no, you're learning your shapes and your colors
and numbers.
Yeah, of course not.
But still, should they have homework?
I don't think that even calling it like homework, but for instance, I know that when Ash was younger, her reading wasn't as and I don't know if it has to do because two languages at home, but her reading wasn't as up to par as like her age level. This was like when she was younger, like 2nd, 3rd grade, and she didn't like reading because she wasn't good at it. She doesn't like it. That makes sense. Any kid, right? Any adult even. You don't like it, you stop doing it. So the teacher suggested that she reads any book, even if it's a book she's read before, for a half hour every day, whether she reads out loud to me or whether I'm sitting there reading it with her. But just to do that, because that'll just help her like words per minute, so she was able to read them. When she's maybe more proficient at it, maybe she would like it more. Maybe she would grasp the concepts more because she's able to read more words in a minute and comprehend it eventually. And eventually she did great. Eventually reading and English was A's. But it wasn't homework per se. The teacher didn't assign that to her. She wasn't required and she wasn't graded. But that was a great suggestion. And me, I'm not saying I'm like parent of the year, but I wanted to be a good parent, so I did what the teacher recommended, and I made sure that she did that every night.
Okay, because you are a good parent, right? You're an okay parent. I've seen worse. Do you know Kimber? She's a bad parent. I've seen worse. You are a pretty good parent. That's not something that you fall short on. You're very good.
Wow.
I think.
You're saying that because you like Ashley.
I do like Ashley. She's just a good child. Maybe it's not her mother.
You know what?
She's a good child.
This also ties in a little bit with maybe like what we're talking about with college, but you learn things with homework that you wouldn't if you were in school. For instance, when teachers give projects, and they do have times like maybe like a work study or like a free time that they can work on these projects or assignments like book reports, right? Mm-hmm. Things like that, things like homework, I feel it helps kids with time management, because that's something that parents, we really don't teach kids that. You know what I mean? And they really don't learn that in life. And when you go out to have a job, you don't learn that either. No one is going to hold your hand and be like, look, Edith, you need to do this first, then work on this file, and then you finish this report. No, they're just going to give you a load of stuff and put it on your desk or put it in your lap, your figurative desk, and say, there you go, whatever, I don't care, but it's due Monday, or you need to have it done by whatever. You don't learn time management otherwise, really. Homework helps you, and the teachers check up on you. Book report due May 1st. All right, well, you better start reading. Hey, everyone, you at least finished chapters 1 through 5 yet? There's checkpoints that they have. So it helps with time management. And even though they're never going to maybe read that novel again in their lives, they learn how to pace their time and prioritize their time. That's what homework teaches. Intangible. You can't teach that anywhere else.
Yeah.
It teaches discipline too, because they have to actually sit down and get the work done. There's no pass, literally and figuratively. There's no pass, meaning you get to pass the grade. You didn't complete the assignment. That's it. So you get a D or you get an A because you did do it. And not only did you do it, you did a great job. You actually wrote down the main topic and you wrote an essay on why you think this and that. And then you had a conclusion at the end or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think that it's a stressful thing for kids. It's stressful.
It can be.
And it would reduce stress if homework didn't exist.
Hey, in a sense, stress can even build resilience in kids. Not huge, but small amounts of stress could help for them to be resilient. Stress can be a good thing. It makes you move your butt.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Sometimes it might light a fire underneath your butt.
Sometimes it might not.
Not lazy people like you.
I don't know. Okay, so you don't think there's less time for the family when you've got homework? You have homework, you got less time with the family, right?
Again, a little bit less time, but not if the family's a good family and they're actually
helping you with the homework.
Whether it's a big sister or a mom or an aunt, fine. Okay, mom might be working that evening. Dad, okay, dad's not available because he's helping little bro, grandma, whatever, a neighbor, an aunt.
Okay, so you've got a great family, but little Tommy over the road doesn't have a good family, so it's not equal like the homework, right?
Right.
It's lack of equality.
I'm just saying that the benefit of homework could be that it does actually help to spend quality time together.
Okay.
And bond.
But what about little Tommy who's got no one to help him?
well, that's when Tommy can go to the teacher, for example. He'll try to do it on his own as much as he can. But
stressful. Well, Tommy goes off and buys himself some kind of, I don't know, weapon to, end it all. He's so stressed. I can't take this. I just don't want to live anymore. It's too hard.
Well, it's not like deadlines where they're going to be, do you know what I mean? I mean, that's why the teachers also check in on the students. It's not just like, here you go, here's this huge science project, and I'm done with ya, and I won't see ya until I see your display in the science fair. No, the teachers, they check in, and they make sure that little Tommy's doing okay, and they actually will call the parents and be like, hey, just so you know, most of the kids by now, they at least have a outline of what their project is going to be, but Tommy hasn't turned in anything yet. They notify the parents. I've been a part of this process before with interpreting and stuff. So
okay, so like, say some students work, they have jobs, like they work, so they'll go to work after school, and then they'll come home and have to do the homework. They're not getting much sleep. They go back to school the next day. They're all tired. Then they have to go back to work. It sets a poor sleep schedule also.
Sure, I understand that. It's a part of the whole time management thing I was saying. And
take your books to work with you and do it at work, and then get fired. More stress, more anxiety.
Again, and
they've got to pay for the student loans and all the. It's just...
What student loans?
Well...
Not in high school.
So in high school, they still have jobs. Some kids still have jobs in high school.
Sure.
So it does lead to lack of sleep.
Sure. But again, I'm not talking like astronomical mounds of homework. And it's hard to say, because some classes you might not get tons of homework. Some classes, such as, like social studies, might not be a huge... load coursework, but things like math, you might have to do a page of problems every night, or reading, you might have to, for English, you might have to read a certain number of chapters in a book because you're all going through one novel in class together, whatever. That's how I guess you have to manage your time. Maybe you have to prioritize and not watch or play that video game or go out with your friends. You just have to figure it out.
Okay.
And for me to elaborate on that too, because I was saying that homework helps to teach like independent learning skills. With that, having a project or having homework, something like long term like that, I feel it helps also nurture a sense of, I guess, like attention and focus. Because having homework, they're required to have sustained attention. With today's day and age, digital, oh my gosh, everything is so like ADD and manic, right? Every commercial, it's like a 10-second commercial, but so much was packed into it. You feel like you were just on a roller coaster. And like, I'll watch those and my heart will flutter sometimes, and I'm so filled with like anxiety, right? Homework helps to foster a sense of paying attention, which kids don't do nowadays, as you know. They're forced to actually, wait a minute, what was in that paragraph I just read? Or what was that lesson in math that we were just taught today? How do I use that formula and apply it to this problem right here? It makes them pay attention.
Does it? Or does it just make them get the phone out and either listen to it while they're doing whatever else, just download the book or whatever they have to read, which they're not reading, they're just listening to, because with all the devices that we have today, that's what kids are using.
Well,
that's
if they're using their devices to help them complete their homework, that's great. If it helps them, but in a sense the homework still forces them to have to pay attention to that particular lesson or subject for X amount of time. Whether it's a long-term, like overarching project, that's due at the end of the year, or if it's like a book report, like every quarter, a shorter term type of thing, it helps them, or it forces them to focus, which kids aren't going to do on their own.
Yeah, well, there's also the fact that it's not necessarily, it's questionable as to whether it's beneficial for academic learning, right? Is it beneficial, really? I mean, after being stressed and lonely, not being working with your family, not having family time, going out and working late, all these things, an extra essay that you have to write, is that really going to be any good? Is it going to be much good after all that stress and loneliness?
Is this what happened to you, Edith? Mumsy, is this what you put Edith through?
My mum were always working. Yeah, she wasn't there to help me with my homework, although I did my homework because I liked it, actually. I liked doing homework.
Right. You just feel that there's no...
I just like learning, so...
advantage to it?
I mean, I rushed through it, obviously, because I wanted to go out and play, but
Sure.
I did it.
That might even be an incentive. It's just like, you know what? As long... if I get this homework done, if I read this chapter that's due tomorrow because Miss So-and-so is going to quiz me on this chapter, I'm going to read it real quick so I can go outside and play right now. So I can go ride my bike. So I can go watch that movie or that cartoon. You know, I mean, of course that requires self-discipline for the kid to be able to do that. But, you know, homework forces them, for lack of a better term, it forces them to learn.
I'd go out and play and then come back and do my homework later.
Well, then you didn't manage your time well, did you?
And I would think also that it would be like the child and the student, they don't have such a great relationship if they're doing the homework at home, right? They're not needing the teacher. There's no relationship building there when they're doing it at home.
Okay. Do you think a lot of kids cultivate a relationship with their teachers?
I think they should. Don't you think so?
I think they should, but I don't think they do. They're scared to approach their teacher. They're the authoritative, like...
Well, then that teacher's doing something wrong. If you can't approach your teacher.
There's some teachers that are super nice, but kids have, for some reason, this fear and still are afraid to say, Miss Smith, I need help.
I don't think it's the teachers so much as their peers. I think that would be more their peers, like they don't want to be seen as stupid.
Right.
Or
yeah, it's not the teacher's fault. The teachers could be just extremely friendly and helpful, but the kids don't approach them.
Yeah.
They don't reach out and say, I need help.
Because there's that one Tommy guy who knows all the answers, is always sticking his hand up and answering everything. You just don't want to look stupid to Tommy.
Right. So I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't want like kids to feel stressed out and whatnot either. And there were times where I did have just tons of just homework because all the different classes didn't talk to each other, right? You're like, wow,
right.
She gave us this and he gave us that, but I do feel that homework is valuable and it shouldn't be abolished completely per se.
Well, I think it just causes like an academic burnout. Like you get fatigued, you get stressed, you get fed up. It's just too much. Distraction, detachment. There's a lot that goes with
Stop being
homework.
Lazy, Edith.
It's not lazy. It's all of these things I'm saying. You lose motivation, you know. You have too much. There's too much. In school is enough. You don't need to take it home.
Well, I wonder what all of you think. If you could please chime in and let us know, should we eliminate homework altogether, or should we continue to give our kids decent amounts of homework? Not humongous mounds.
Maybe if the teachers communicated a little better, like this week they're going to be getting this homework from this class, as opposed to every class that they go to that day, they get a piece of homework. right?
Right.
It's too much.
Or have the deadlines, I guess, longer term, so they can kind of manage their time. Okay, well, this project or this assignment is due today or tomorrow. They can kind of juggle a little bit.
Yeah.
They could have different deadlines, you know?
Yep.
Be more flexible.
Usually curriculums do have that, like,
Right.
things that need to be in at whatever date. But more than not, they all need to be in around the same time when it comes to the end of a semester.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's really stressful.
But, everything aside, though, I think teachers are awesome. Teachers are so underpaid. Teachers do the job that most of us would never want to do, and teachers are great.
Teachers are great.
Yeah. So please chime in. Homework or no homework, please let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to also share and like this video. Tell your friends to argue along with Thuy and Edith.
Yeah. See
And
who's,
Edith, can you tell everyone where they can find us?
they can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, pretty much any major listening platform that you desire. Spotify, anything where there's audio.
So please subscribe, and we hope you enjoyed and had fun watching. See you next time.
Bye. If you had fun listening today, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.